Welcome in, everybody. This is Streamer 101 Week 3. Appreciate everybody being here. Appreciate everybody taking the time out of your day to stop by. The whole goal of these classes is to try to take somebody that has never streamed before, doesn't necessarily have a whole lot of knowledge in what they need to have put together to get their streaming up and running. The first couple lessons we've done, we did OBS Basics, we did OBS Intermediate to Advanced Settings, as well as filters, plugins, and scripts. Now we're going to be moving on to alert software and the different kinds of alert software options there are. Kind of a bare minimum when it comes to streaming is to have this kind of thing set up so that you can thank raiders, you can thank followers when you hit affiliate, you can thank subscribers, and you can do different kinds of things to interact with people as you are alerted to them interacting with you. So that's what we're going to be going over today. I know this is somewhat a little bit, we're kind of going from that advanced state in OBS, kind of more advanced things in OBS to kind of backtracking a little bit into something a little bit more basic. But I appreciate you guys being here. This is going to be, we're going to go over all the different types of widgets and all the different types of settings and how to set things up across both StreamElements and Streamlabs. And then we're going to be going over some advanced use cases for a browser source specifically in OBS. I'm going to go ahead and try to get through all of the information that I have for you today, and then at the end we'll take some questions from those that are in the class currently. For anybody watching at a later date on YouTube, we do these classes in the Uncanny GG Discord every Tuesday at 4 p.m. Eastern, and they usually last for about an hour. And then we record the VOD and we put it up here in kind of an unedited, just kind of lecture format. It's a little bit more like an actual class, rather like if you were to go to say a lecture, than a than a highly edited, produced like guide video. It's just a little bit more. It's literally just the VOD of what we're doing. Appreciate everybody being here. Let's go ahead and we're gonna hop into the class here. Let me go ahead. I'm gonna pull the screen share up for everybody so that you guys can see what's going on. No, we're going to have a live feed. We'll have a live feed. I just need to actually pull it up. Give me 1 second. There we go. All right, so everybody should be able to hop into the live feed, and everybody should be able to see my OBS screen here. We've gone over browser sources before, right? We've gone over browser sources before. We went over them our very first week of having these classes. And so what a browser source is it takes a URL from the internet, and then it pulls it into your broadcast software so that you can show off alerts, and you can say use Uncanny Instant Replays, or you can use our smart alerts, or you can get follower, sub, and rate alerts from your chosen provider. You can get links to a donation goal. You can get links to an external donation service if you're doing a charity stream. You can put tournament brackets on your stream. There's a lot of different use cases for a browser source, right? So what we're actually going to be going over today is the different types of alerts, the different types of widgets that you can put on your stream, and different ways that you can kind of customize the theming of your stream to your aesthetic and to your branding, right? The big thing to keep in mind is that just because an option is available to use, just because there is a widget, you don't have to use it. Overcluttered streams and streams that have way too much going on and that are trying to incorporate way too many tools kind of lose a touch of quality that I think a more streamlined setup has, right? You want to put in the things that fit. You don't want to force things that fit. If you don't want a tip jar, then you don't have to have a tip jar. If you want to have an emote wall and have when people emote and chat, different emotes bounce around on screen, I mean, that's cool. You can have that. But you don't want to pile on a stream avatars over top of that with all of the emotes bouncing around, and then with a chat feed on the left, and then with alerts going off. It's going to end up being a lot of visual noise and clutter that will take away from the quality of your stream rather than adding to it. So making sure that you are curating the experience for your viewers based on your aesthetic and based on your branding is going to be up to you, and kind of an expression of your own creativity. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to pull up the old Google Chrome here. And we're going to go to, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go to streamlabs.com. I'm going to use a fresh Streamlabs page. I'm not going to use, mine has Prime. So I don't want to give you guys, you know, an insight into something that you may have to, like, for example, like pay for. I'm going to actually just log in with my bot account, with my Twitch bot account, unless if it doesn't let me. Might not let me. Okay. Is it being stupid? It's being stupid. RIP. Alright, so I guess we're just going to do it with mine because it keeps doing this. So, alright, I'm not going to take a whole lot of time to mess around with it and waste y'all's time. Alright. So, this is the main dash page for Streamlabs, right? Streamlabs is, it used to be called StreamElements. It used to be called StreamElements, or not StreamElements, I'm sorry. Streamlabs used to be called StreamAlerts. It used to be called StreamAlerts, and then it was actually bought out by Logitech. And Logitech has turned the whole thing into kind of like a big monetization platform. Rebranded it to Streamlabs, and now you have a whole lot more than just the alerts software, right? You have a dashboard that you can see a bunch of stats on. You have, you know, a list of recent follows, bits, donos, subs, all of that stuff is right here. We're not going to focus on that today. That's stuff that you can kind of dig in and explore around on yourself. All of that comes free in the standard base Streamlabs kit, right? The stuff that we're going to be looking at is the widgets in the alert boxes, right? So a widget is essentially like a little pop-up or a little graphic or a little tool that you can use to kind of customize your stream without having to program or create it yourself, right? It auto-updates. It uses Twitch APIs to pull information from Twitch to auto-update on the fly so that it acts like a live broadcast, right? A couple of the basic ones that are really nice to have are a chat box, or the alert box that gives you alerts when somebody follows, subs, donos, raids, etc. If you have a facecam screen, you can have a chat box up so people can see not only the chat that's happening like in a VOD, so if somebody goes back and watches it on another platform, so if you export your VODs to YouTube, they can actually see the conversation going on, but also that way your viewers live can see that you're not like ignoring somebody because you're taking a minute to respond, right? They can see in what time you are responding to comments, so they're like, okay, there's like a 10-second delay or something. If he doesn't get back to me right away, it's probably because there's not only a delay, but you gotta get through everybody else too, right? So it helps on that front as well. The event list is not just a brief flash up alert, but it's a list of events that shows off follows, donos, subs, different things that happen that come through the Twitch API that stay on your stream and stay up to give a kind of a longer shout out to the person that's supporting you. Also, if you miss an alert, like if you're really in a heated gunfight and you miss something happening, you can always look back at this too. And you can see that, hey, something happened. I want to check back and see what it was. Okay. Metal Star 35 followed. Dope. Cool. The donation goal is, I don't like putting a whole lot of emphasis on donations, especially when you're just starting. I feel like developing something that's worth paying for and worth tipping for is way more important. But if you want to set up donos, you can set up a dono goal. Let's say you need to go and get groceries this week. Set up like a $100 dono goal. Let's say you've got, you know, a $20 capture card you want to test out, right? Maybe you can put a $20 dono goal up, you know, something like that. There are a lot of other widgets that Streamlabs puts that allows you to use. We're going to go into some of the differences between Streamlabs and StreamElements. Streamlabs has some tools that StreamElements does not, and Streamlabs has some tools that StreamElements does not. So we'll go through these. The first thing I absolutely want to touch on is the alert box. First one I really want to get into is the alert box. The alert box is the bread and butter of your alerts. It's the bare minimum. It's what you have to have as a streamer. You know, if somebody new comes, it's to the point now in streaming where it's such a conditioned thing for a viewer to be thanked and to be recognized when they follow, that if you're a small streamer, or if you're even like a, you know, kind of like a middle ground streamer trying to work their way up, it's you have to have this on, right? Unless your chat's going a million miles an hour and you've got hundreds of people watching, you know, only then maybe you could think about turning off follow alerts, but I still wouldn't. I'd keep them smaller. quieter and still have them flash up. You have to make sure that it's scalable as you grow, but especially as you're starting out, you need to make sure that you have an alert box. It's just it's a must-have at this point. So an alert box, I'm sure everybody's seen one of these, right? You can see here, I'm gonna do a test alert. You can click test follow, right? And it looks like this. So I've got this wolf GIF playing in the background, and it has the follower. It says now following. What you can do is you can set up general settings for your alert box, but I like to go through and customize them specifically per alert. Right, you can have the layout for where you want the picture, where you want the text, what text do you want it to say. You can go to Giphy and grab GIFs, to use for different alerts. As you grow, you can maybe commission somebody to make you a custom GIF. This one was made custom by an artist named Dream Network. He made this wolf GIF for me. You can set sound volume, alert duration, alert delay, and all of that stuff. As well as like font settings and alert variations. We're going to get more into alert variations with subscribers, because that's where I really feel like that is useful. So we have all of that set. This is very simple to set up. If you want a sound, you can go online and find free sound bites to use. You can grab them off YouTube with Audacity. There are different ways to find sound to add to your effects, and then if nothing else, there's always a list of defaults that Streamlabs gives you as well. And if you can't find a GIF you like, there are, again, a list of GIFs that Streamlabs provides that are just, basic, that are, they're you don't have to go anywhere to look for them. They're just stock GIF images. Subscriptions is where my stuff gets a little bit more in depth when it comes to subscriptions. So, for example, get that pull it back up here. So you can see here, it's another GIF. This isn't a custom one. This is from Giphy. So I did get this off of the Giphy website. The audio that I'm using, I'm not sure if you can hear it, but the audio is custom. I took a royalty-free EDM beat that I liked, and then I recorded my voice over the top of it and added some layering effects to my voice in Audacity. Audacity is a free program you can use to create sound effects. I use that to kind of create and export an MP3 file, and then I uploaded it here for my sub-alert. The big thing that is important, and I feel like, because a lot of this is really simple. A lot of this is really easy to set up once you really dig into it, and a lot of this is going to be the same, alert after alert after alert, right? Different GIF, different sound for donos, but it's a lot of the same settings. Different GIF, different sound for hosts, but it's a lot of this, but everything else is pretty much the same, right? Raids, bits, it's all relatively the same. Where this really needs to be kind of dug into is when you can get into alert variations. How many people have had, say, somebody gift 5 subs at one time in their Twitch stream, and then they have 5 big, bright, loud alerts playing for each one of those individually gifted subs? It can distract and kind of take away from the quality of your broadcast if somebody drops a big sub bomb, and then all of a sudden it's just playing endless sub alerts over and over and over and over and over again, and it can get kind of annoying to everybody else that's watching, and it can make editing your VOD really hard. I've had it happen multiple times where I've gotten a really, really awesome play while I was playing the game, right? But my alerts were covered what I was doing because I had like 5 sub alerts going off in a row, and nobody could see the awesome play that I just made, right? We couldn't get hype over the subs and that. So you want to make sure that you have it set up so that if somebody gifts 5 subs at once, it plays one alert for all 5. That's when you get into alert variations down here. You can see I have a couple different alert variations. I have when a viewer gifts at least 2 subs at once. Removes mass gifted subs in favor of 1. And then when an anonymous user gifts at least 2 subs, because it codes differently in the API, whether it's a specific person and whether it's somebody anonymous. And you have to have something set up for not only specific people gifting multiple subs, but also anonymous people gifting subs. So if I click edit, it's going to pop up a new window here, and you can see I'm just calling this multiple gifts. The condition, this is like an if-then programming statement. User, specific user, not anonymous, a specific user has gifted at least blank number of subs at once. I have it set at 2, so it plays the same alert if anybody gifts multiple, subs at once. And then I have the same layout. It's just that it says something different. It says gifters gifted X amount of subs to viewers, right? This way, you're not bombarded with a ton of alerts all at once. And then I have the same thing set up for the anonymous alerts, because you have to have multiple. See, you can set it up, and there's lots of different variations you can pick from. But I'm going to have it when an anonymous user gifts a subscription. Or when an anonymous user gifts at least insert amount subs at once. So when an anonymous user gifts at least 2 subs, it's going to play the same alert. It's just going to say anonymous instead of a specific person. You save that, and you're never going to have to worry about that. Another cool use case for alert variations is with bits. So you can actually randomize different alerts. I have a kind of a mini game that people play with bits in my channel, where there is a GIF of me slapping one of my mods with a massive pizza dough. And normally what will happen is people will bit, but they won't get the full slap. It'll do that JoJo transition where it like goes into sepia and it's like to be continued, right? Like you don't actually get to see the slap. But, and that's my standard variation, right? That's my standard alert variation. Is my standard bit alert is to have it just kind of be like that teaser, right? That, hey, you didn't get the slap this time. But if I open alert variations, you can see here that I have this hidden gem alert. And I can set up to a condition. I can literally set the condition. You can set bits at least this amount or bits exactly this amount, but I have it set to random, right? And I have the frequency set to very rarely, so it doesn't play very often. But once in a while, somebody will drop bits, and they'll get the slap, and they get to see the full GIF of me slapping my mod in the face with pizza dough. And it plays a special sound effect, and it gets really loud, and gets really excited, and we get hype in chat when somebody gets the slap, right? It's kind of like winning a little game. And you can set those up through alert variations. Another thing I do is if somebody drops over 1,000 bits, so over $10 at one time, I have a special sound effect that plays. So it's still queued up to have the same default alerts. That it has the same default alert variation, so you can see here it's still going to be giving that like, oh no, you didn't get it this time, right? But if somebody bits over 1,000 bits, it plays a special sound effect, and it gets really hyped too. So I have different levels of hype for different levels of bits that are thrown out, right? And then rarely, once in a while, somebody will get that little Easter egg, that slap, right? And then I've got a troll alert that does a different sound effect that also plays randomly. So randomly, it'll be like, no, it'll randomly be like another sound effect. So randomly, one thing will happen. Randomly, a goofy like troll thing will happen. Randomly, the cool slap will happen. And then if there's over 1,000 bits dropped, it does a different sound effect. And then that's how you build in different levels of hype for your sound effects, right? That's how you that's how you can start really working on I find it's a good way to monetize your content, because it lets people get excited about giving to you and they feel more involved having done so. They're still bidding, they're still like tipping you, right? But in doing that, they are playing like games with it, right? And it's kind of gamifying it. So that's what I wanted to go over with the alert box. It's the bare minimum to have set up if you really want to. Streamlabs has different like packs you can buy with different themes and crap, but honestly, I find it's better just to go on to Giphy and find a GIF that fits your theme and aesthetic, and get some different GIFs, plug them in here, find some sound effects, plug them in there. There's always ways to do it for free. You don't really have to. You don't have to pay for a bunch of packs if you don't want to, right? Let's see. If we go back to all widgets, again, I kind of went over the chat box a little bit just a bit ago. You can see here that it's set up like this, where you have different people chat. It scrolls up as chat happens. You can set it up with different themes. You know, it looks like Twitch chat. Maybe you want it to look like super retro. Maybe you want it to be in boxes. You can have different badges show based on what you want to be shown in chat. So I have my BTTV and Frankers emotes enabled, because I have BTTV and Frankers emotes enabled for my channel, so I want to be able to see them on stream live as well. And you can set up all of this stuff to be kind of custom. I don't have any delay on it. You can set how long you want the message to stay, if you want it to disappear. You can, you know, mute words, and you can ban words, and you can have different words kind of auto-modded out so people aren't talking about horrible crap in your chat, right? And before I go any further, I just realized I didn't tell you how to put these on your stream. So what you're gonna do is you see how it says click to show widget URL. You can click here, right? And you can copy that widget, and you can go into OBS. I'm gonna make a browser source, so I'm gonna go plus browser source. We're gonna call this chat, and you see it just pops up with the default, you know, OBS plugin there, right? So I'm gonna paste in my chat window, and now let's say I pull open my Twitch chat real quick. Let's say I start typing in it and say, hey, you know, yeah, you can have, it's going to pop up and populate as I type in chat, right? The other thing you can do, if I go back to alert box, is again, here's that widget URL. Just going to copy that. We're going to pull this back up. I'm going to change the URL, and it's not going to be chat anymore. That's going to be on our alert box. So now if I, so let's say, test a sub alert.
Wolfpack strong.
It pops up right there. Test your alerts, make sure they look good on the screen. And you can make sure that they're
This
working
is
the way
a
you want them to
test.
do. Yeah, this is a test. You can make sure that they are where you want them to be, right? Just so that you guys can get to see what I'm talking about here. I'll give you guys a little glimpse at something real quick. Check this out. So this is the
This is a test bit alert.
So every now and then somebody gets that one. All of these widgets are pretty simple. They're pretty easy to set up. Your event list, if you want an event list to pop up with what the recent things recent things have happened. Now you can see here dono, follow, bits. And that way, like, as it goes, it can show you, and you can go back to it to see what's going on with your engagement. And then also, it gives people a little bit of a longer moment in the spotlight for having engaged with your stream. If I paste that in right here, it should populate my 3 most recent alerts. So Digimills, follow, can't quite read that because of where it's at. But yeah, Legitimate 88 and Thunder Gamer following. And those can all, like, just, you know, sit in the corner, and that'll update as you go live and as people follow, and that'll stay up to date, and you can always refer back to it if you feel like you missed something. The other kinds of things you can do is, say, have an emote wall. If you want a bunch of emotes to pop up over your screen when somebody emotes in your chat, That's what this widget does. You can have it ignore duplicates, and you can have multiple of emotes required in order to have them pop up. You know, you can set emote durations, and you can set how big it is. All of this is generated from a browser source. Literally, any one of these that you want to implement in your own stream, it's just copy and paste. It's super, super easy. Let's see. So you can do media shares if you want people to donate and to be able to share videos on your stream. That's kind of dangerous. I don't recommend having that. Viewer count, never look at your viewer count. Never look at your viewer count. It's just going to bring you down. No matter how big or small it is, it's just going to bring you down. You can show. You can have tip tickers, follower goals, the jar. The jar is a. It's literally a jar, and as people drop bits or follows or subs, it'll like fill up with stuff, and you know, it'll fill up with little badges, and then like if you get like a big bomb or something, or if a whole bunch of people, you know, follow or sub at once, or if he comes in with a raid or something, it'll like blow up and it'll knock the cup. It doesn't knock the cup over, but it knocks all the little badges out of the cup and stuff. It can be fun, but it's very visually noisy, and you don't want to overdo it with some of this stuff. Stream bosses is essentially taking it's setting up a like a mini game, right? So a boss can be, you know, it basically takes like a name, and a lot of people use their moderators as names, and that's the boss for the night. And if you have a follower, a sub, or a dono, or a bit, it'll start chunking away at the health of the boss. And if you beat the boss, you can do different incentives. So like if we beat the boss tonight, I'll shave one leg from the knee down, or I'll do pizza tricks, or I'll drink some hot sauce, or different things that you can do to incentivize people to chunk down the health of that boss, right? End credits are kind of clever. It's literally just a roll of credits for the people that have supported you over the course of your stream. You can set it to go at different speeds. You can set it to look like Star Wars. You can set it up to look like just a normal credits reel. You can have donos pop up there, subs, bits. It's a lot of these tools are ways for you to thank your chat and get your chat involved in the production of your stream, right? So if people have an stream ending screen and you're raiding out to somebody, and you don't want to have to talk for the 60 seconds that it takes for that timer to go down and for the raid to go through, 30 seconds in, you can flip to a end credit, and it'll do the end credits, and then raid out when the credits are over. You know, that's a different way to, you know, have that kind of engagement, have that kind of involvement. One thing that I make use of is sponsor banners. So we recently just did a charity tournament for a friend of mine's GoFundMe page. A family member of his has breast cancer, and he set up a GoFundMe to help support them. We did a charity tournament to raise money for that GoFundMe. A part of that process was me reaching out to companies that work with me on different sponsorship campaigns and asking if they would be willing to donate to my friend's GoFundMe in return for ad space and shoutouts during the tournament. And so a couple of them obliged and donated to his GoFundMe. And so I have the sponsor banner that was flashing up throughout the entire event, you know, showing off the companies that donated to my friend's GoFundMe and giving them a little bit of that, you know, giving them that spotlight. And then depending on how much they donated to the GoFundMe, there were different incentives over the course of the stream that they were able to cash in on, like shout outs and having their name on all the transitions and having a section of the broadcast name for their company, different things like that. But this is what I use that sponsor banner for. If you have a G Fuel code, if you have a affiliate code, this is a good place to put that if you want to try to push that. If you have a sponsor where they're paying you especially for ad placement, and then you also have a code on top of that, that's another great use of this, to have that flashing up every now and then, because you can have it a duration of time where it's hidden, and then say like every 30 minutes it flashes up for 1 minute, right? And every 30 minutes you have your little sponsor banner flash up, right? And try to drive traffic to your monetization sources through that. Sub goals and dono goals are all very standard. I mean, literally, it's just, hey, how many subs do you want to try to hit? How long do you want your goal to go for? And what are you going to call it? What are you going to customize it as? Very similar. The only difference between these is the API feeding into them. So you can see like donation goal, follower goal, bit goal, sub goal. Those are all basically the same. The wheel spin is real fun. The wheel spin's real fun. This is something I do where every 10 subs I get, accumulating over time, I spin this wheel, and I have different things on the wheel. So you can see here, this is what my wheel looks like, right? And then if I spin it, it looks like this. Whatever it lands on, that's what I end up having to do. So show pet, right? And I gotta like go grab like one of my cats and just like play with my cat for a second in the middle of an Apex game. You know. And there's a lot of different customization options you can do in here and you can dig in with. But it's, you know, it's an option here for you. However you customize, it's going to be up to your aesthetic and your theming. And the other thing is polling. I don't think this is super important, mostly because polling is now built into Twitch chat through your quick actions bar. So if you dock your quick actions bar in OBS like we showed during our advanced class last week, this isn't going, you're not going to need to use that. Some of the other things that you can get through Streamlabs is if you want to have like a section of your stream where followers show up, where it's like recent follow, recent sub, you know, that kind of thing, and you have them like statically permanent on your stream and it's not like scrolling up like you would with the event list, you can set up stream labels. Stream labels is a separate program that you can have that basically makes a bunch of text files. It's pulling names of people that have followed you, that have subbed to you, that have donated to you, and it's creating a text file with their name locally on your computer, and it refreshes that every time the API changes. So it will dynamically change on your stream based on this. And that's set up a little bit differently. That's actually not through a browser source. That's through a text source. We talked about this a little bit 2 weeks ago, but that's the use case where if you want to set up a text source and you want to have it read from a file, you can have it pull from your stream labels folder and read different files that way. That's about all I want to go over in Streamlabs. That's really the only the tool. That's kind of the toolkit that Streamlabs gives you. Again, a lot of this stuff is very basic. It's very 101, but this is Streamer 101, right? I want to try to give you a comprehensive list of tools that you can use in order to, you know, really take your streaming to a level where you feel like it looks professional. The next thing we're going to look at is StreamElements. StreamElements is kind of the competitor to Streamlabs. I've used Streamlabs since before it was Streamlabs, since it was Stream Alerts. I've just so integrated into that platform that I haven't really looked at StreamElements very much or used it very much. But it is an option for you, and a lot of people like it a lot more because of it's a lot less monetization-y. It's a lot more aesthetic, and then also they don't push Streamlabs OBS down your throat. Right, you can use Streamlabs OBS and you can have all those widgets built in. The problem is that they all run locally on your computer, and it slows down your computer. The more you add into your stream, the slower your computer is going, the more it's going to take for your computer to run it, rather than it running in the cloud, like out in the internet, and then your OBS just pulling it in. It's a lot more efficient to use OBS Studio and then to use browser sources for your widgets than it is to use Streamlabs OBS. Part of the reason that people like StreamElements so much is because StreamElements has the OBS Live Plugin. Okay, we talked about plugins last week. OBS Live is a plugin that essentially turns your OBS Studio, your normal OBS, into StreamElements OBS, but without all of the bloatware, right? I showed you last week how to custom dock your chat, your events, your quick panels. All of that stuff can be done custom it can be done by you and you don't have to have this, but this does make it considerably easier. Now, if you do want to add the OBS Live plugin, if you do want to add the OBS Live plugin, you just download it. I'm going to open it up real quick. We're going to run through the install together so you can see what it looks like. Oh, hang on. I can't install it because I literally have this running right now. But all it's going to do is install. It's literally just installing the plugin on top of your OBS. And it's going to give you your event list. It's going to give you your chat. It's going to give you different ways to interact with your StreamElements widgets on screen. And that way you don't have to go through and set it all up custom yourself. Like, it's all built for you. You just have to make sure that you're using StreamElements. Now, if I go to, let's see, where's it at? Alerts and overlays. This is where you get into your alerts. This is where you get into your alert variations. This is where you can get different widgets from StreamElements. The only thing is they don't call it widgets. They call them overlays, right? And if you're using Streamlabs, you can actually import all of your alert box settings. So if you set up all those alert variations and all that different stuff for your alert box on Streamlabs, you can actually import it very, very easily into StreamElements. You can literally see you can import from other channels, and you can import from StreamElements, and you can see over here I've imported them over here to test it out. It works just fine. Everything pulls over. But let's say I want to create a blank overlay, right? I'm going to create a blank overlay. It's going to give me like a canvas types. It's going to give me like a canvas type area where I can start adding widgets, right? Alerts, we can do an alert box. And I can start customizing this alert box, and this is how big it is based on the overall size of the canvas on a 1080p screen. And you can shrink it, you can make it bigger, smaller, however you want. You can set up what alerts you want to show up, and then you can customize those with that little gear. I will say the stock GIFs, the stock GIFs for that StreamElements has, I like way more than Streamlabs. I think they're just higher quality images, but that's also because they haven't been around as long. They made their collection of images a lot closer to now versus StreamElements that is literally, or Streamlabs that has literally used the same collection of stock GIFs since they came out. Change your layout. You can. A lot of this is going to end up being the same. You can set up alert variations. You can set up text-to-speech settings, text settings, animation settings. All of this stuff, it looks different, but it's all the same. It looks different, but it's all the same, right? The big difference between Streamlabs and StreamElements is that this is one overlay, right? This is all one overlay. I can set my alert box here. And now let's say I want to add a, let's see. Let's say I want to add a chat box here, right? I can set the chat box there. And let's say I want to have my labels set up. I don't need a separate program for this, right? I can literally just go latest subscriber. I don't need a separate tool for any of it. It literally just, it comes stock inside your one online tool. So, in a lot of ways, StreamElements has a lot more, has a lot more than Streamlabs does, right? The only thing is that StreamElements doesn't have the same number of tools. They don't have a wheel spin. They don't have, I don't think they have they don't have like emoji chat. You know, they don't have, they don't have a lot of the same types of widgets, but they have some of the other ones, right? Like they have a boss, they have store redemptions, they have, the Capagen, that is the emotes, right? But, you know, they don't have some of the same things. Some of them aren't back and forth compatible. Overall, though, if you're just looking for the basics and you just want to kind of create a clean stream look and you have, you know, all of your production set up without all of the added tools for monetization, this is going to do a better job for you. And they do have some tools for monetization, just not, I think, as many. And also you can get your OBS live, and you don't have to have Streamlabs OBS. But again, let's say I save this, right? I can copy this overlay URL. I can pull up my OBS. I can paste in the URL, right? Save it. We'll go back to the main page. Copy the URL again. Oh, there it goes. Now it's pulling in. Okay, I had to save it. So now you can see I can move this around. Like, my alert would be right here. My chat would be right here. My subs would be right here. And I can have all of that in one browser source rather than having a whole bunch of browser sources, right? Instead of having a whole bunch of browser sources, I can have it all in one browser source and have it all aligned on that template where I want them to be. If you want individual widgets, you just make individual overlays. So if you want just a chat in your browser source, you make a overlay with just the chat widget. If you want to have your subs, your bits, and your follows set up like this right here, and you just want each one individually and to be able to move them inside OBS individually, you just set up a different overlay with just that inside of it. So at that point, it's just as tedious, but there is a conglomeration tool in being able to put them all in one overlay. The other thing you can do is if you use a static image overlay, you can layer that static image overlay behind it, and that way you can make sure that everything's positioned where you want it to be as well. Yeah, StreamElements and Streamlabs both have tipping options. They both have revenue history options. They both have options to try and get different, like quote-unquote, like sponsorships. Play this game and make this amount of money based on your total number of viewers that watch you play the game. It usually ends up not being worth it unless you have like a 50 viewer average or higher for that sponsored time. That's usually where they cap out the payout. Because if you get 50 viewers or more, or 100 viewers or more, that's when you make like the most amount that you can make with a sponsored stream like that. But then you also have to take into a consideration that you're not always going to, like, if you switch to a sponsored segment for an hour, you're going to lose people. You're not going to have your normal viewer count. You know, is it worth doing a sponsored segment for 1 to 2 people? You're going to make sense on the dollar for your time. You know, you got to make that decision yourself. They both have themes galleries that you can go through and, you know, they both have themes galleries to go through and kind of like add different themed flair to your alerts and to your aesthetic and loadout, right? They're very similar. That's why they're competitors. It's just that StreamElements works right out of OBS. They have the OBS Live Plug-In, and they have the overlays to be able to build out everything for one browser source versus StreamElements that has a few more monetization tools, but is a little bit, I would almost say, outdated compared to Streamlabs' ability to get everything put into one. All right. So, the last thing I want to go over with you guys, is advanced use cases for a browser source. The first thing I'm going to show you is brackets. Challenge.com is a great source for brackets. If you ever run tournaments, if you ever, you know, use a, if you ever, like, for example, the charity tournament that we just ran last week, right? Here's the tournament bracket, right? You can see some people that are currently in the class in this bracket too. But that's the bracket, right? How do I show that on stream without all of these ads and all of this gray and without all this, you know, bullcrap in the background, right? I want to be able to have a high production stream. I want to be able to put on a good show for people, but I don't want all this extra junk, right? Do I have to, like, custom build my own bracket? And if I custom build it, how am I going to be able to edit it on the fly while the tournament's running? All you have to do is you just go to settings, challenge.com/this link here. I'm going to copy that. I'm going to copy this link, right? And I know it's challenge.com/. So if I come back to our browser source, I'm literally just going to type in Paste, and then I'm going to put in full screen because that makes it work better. Oh, hold up. Messed it up. Oh, did I generate... Hold up. Did I accidentally generate a new... I did. I gotta make it... It's basically gonna end up being a different URL. There we go. Copy. Paste. Oh, crap. Hold on. I'll get it. I promise it's a good tool. It's a good thing. It's good. Oh, it's because of the dimensions of the freaking browser source. Okay, so it's pulling the URL for the actual for that, but it's not pulling the bracket for some reason. There we go. Yeah, there we go. Slash full screen. So I had to do slash full screen to get the whole thing to show up. But you can see here, when you do that, you format it that way. So challenge.com slash the URL slash full screen. It shows up like this, and then it all chromas out all of that background. You don't have all the ads. You don't have all of that extra bull crap. It's just the bracket. Some other ways that you can use this. And I'm just going to go ahead and pull up my normal setup here so that I can kind of show off some of the different ways that at least I use browser sources. You can see here that we have our charity updates page. So you can see here when we did that charity tournament, you can see I have this is a individual browser source, that is, and each one of these are, because it's showing you know, it's all on the same page on the GoFundMe's website. But the thing is that it's formatted not very conducive to putting it on, say, a Twitch stream. It's on a web page. So I literally just cropped in different parts of the, I literally just cropped in different parts of the same page. See? So I cropped in the picture, I cropped in the total, I cropped in the different, you know, things here into different browser sources to format it to fit my page so that it looks a little bit nicer for when I was doing the tournament. Let's see. Another thing is that if you do use StreamElements and you want to have a wheel set up, there's a third-party program that lets you make a wheel. StreamElements, or in Streamlabs, to be fair, Streamlabs doesn't let you make two wheels, and I run two wheels. I have one wheel for every 10 subs, at $10 or 1,000 bits. And that all adds up over time, right? And then I have a big wheel. This is the big wheel. I have a big wheel that I use for when somebody drops a bigger contribution, right? If somebody drops a 20 sub bomb, if somebody drops 5,000 bits or $50 at once, right? That doesn't scale. That's one time. So if somebody drops a $150 dono, I don't spin this 3 times. I spin it once. You know, so that's what I use this bigger wheel for, is that. And when you're in the browser source, right? So I have my big wheel right here. You can see all of that big long URL is from wheeldecide.com. So this way, if you use StreamElements, you can have a wheel spin. You're not limited. Or if you use Streamlabs and you want 2 wheels. Literally, you just build it out here with whatever choices you want, customize it to what you want, and then just snag this URL right here, whatever it is after it spits out your total. Paste it in here, and you can see why my URL is pretty long because of all the different options I have on it. And then I put a couple different filters on it, and we talked about filters last week. I color key out the color black on it, and it takes out the backdrop. So that it kind of has that, so it's literally just a wheel and it doesn't have like a big gray box. So those are at least the two biggest alert platforms, StreamElements and Streamlabs, and then those are a couple different more advanced use cases for the browser source as a tool. I'm gonna go ahead and cut the feed here. So thank you so much for everybody that's watching on YouTube. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. I'm happy to answer. We do these classes every Tuesday at 4 p.m. Eastern. I appreciate everybody that came out today, and thank you for watching. Next week, we've got another one coming up, and we'll have it uploaded, and it'll be good. Yeah. So, yep, and we're going to go ahead and cut the recording.